by a moment of silence and reflection.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. You may be seated.
The clerk will call the roll. Please correct the pronunciation of your name if it is incorrect, and please don't forget who you're proxying for.
Oloko, Anderson, Baldinger, Venegas, Frazier, Pulam, Koviak, Cumby, Doppolito, Davis, Dorsey, Dorsnowski, Erler, Freer, Fry, Boivin, Gay, George, Gopel, Hopkins, Hunter, Iftikhar, Jacobson, Cassetti, Keenan, Kern, Kirby, Lemery, Lewis, Matthews, Mon Warren, Wakapufia, Pickford, Primus, Ryan, Sams, Sanders, Santiago Cedillo, Sheridan, Bergen, Hilkert, Tapia, Talaka, Violette, Von Cannon, Walker, Watley.
Just checking, I have on file that there should be a proxy for Senator George, Senator Kirby, and Senator Pigford. So is anybody proxying for them? They have to have told you that you were their proxy. I'm just making sure, because those are people that would have said, I have a proxy. Okay. Give us 1 second. I just need to count to make sure that we're at quorum. Perfect. With the quorum being present, is there a motion to approve the Journal of October 1st, 2025 as found online? Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. We are now in line for general orders of the Senate, beginning with reports from Senate leadership. Speaker Pro Tempore Violette, you are now recognized.
Hey everyone. Rules went over 12 pieces of legislation, all of which were found unanimously favorable. I really want to congratulate you guys. We were at over 90 pieces of legislation. It's epic. I yield my time to questions.
The Speaker Pro Tempore yields his time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you. We are now in line for a report from the Academics Committee. Chairwoman Cumby. Okay. I'll talk with him about that. Yep. Chairperson Koviak, you're recognized.
Hello. So academics met at the typical time Fridays. We have talked about switching our meeting times to Saturday. So long as, depending on what is referred to committee today, we will be deciding whether or not we will meet this week. Just because fall break, and that would be mean to make all of you come on a Saturday. And if we do still have to meet, I will be understanding of absences as it is what it is. But that being said, this week we met in committee talking about our piece, because I know there's been a lot of questions and other topics of conversation. And I just want to, for function of questions of the body, kind of talk about the way pieces of legislation in our committee are handled. It's slight bit different because of the variable of faculty senate. With that being said, like we do different processes to make sure that we're asking the right questions and making sure, like when we're talking about like checking with faculty before creating piece of legislation and checking to see if they want that, it can get a little bit weird because that's also faculty senate's role. And so a lot of the questions we were asking, they are great questions, but they're a bit more reserved for implementation for faculty senate side. And so that's one of those things that wanted to let y'all know that you're still having great questions. That's something that I can pass along to faculty senate when those questions come up, but it's something that I can't really, in my committee, cannot speak as directly to in the same way that a lot of our other senators are able to talk about pieces like when we're talking about athletics or you know, things like the SGRC, even those kinds of things. It's a bit, our processes are a little bit backwards. So just keep that in mind, like when we're asking questions for just function, like that is how we found that we can do more work with faculty senate and making sure everything is well done. But that being said, we kind of re-talked about our piece. We have passed it through again, have the notes to ask to the next faculty senate and everything when it is passed, if it is passed, but that's that. And then also talking about other topics. So we have been writing a piece about schedule planner. Now everyone's really interested about that when that piece came up from someone else, and talking about possibly making a partnership with a already existing service called Corsical. If you guys are interested about that, please let me know because that was something that we are still working on. But yeah, with that, yield my time to questions.
The chairperson yields their time to questions. Are there any questions?
Yeah, of course.
Senator Lemery.
Yes, so we discussed it'd be around noon. So thank you for reminding me I didn't put that part in clarity. But that would, if we are switching to Saturday, and I'm just gonna, again, confirming with everyone, especially for this week, but it may be we're doing it next week instead, be about noon on Saturday. So that's gonna be the new meeting time, as long as everyone's still okay with that. But, yeah.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you. We will now hear a report from the Finance Committee. Chairman Matthews, you are recognized.
Evening. We met last Friday at 3:30 and reviewed $11,434.40 and approved $11,150.47. I yield questions.
The chairman yields his time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you. We will now hear a report from the Health and Safety Committee. Chairwoman Cumby, you are recognized.
Hi, everyone. We met last week after Senate. Per usual, we got to talk to our amazing FROCO liaison and how they're going to be having the independent drink safety event in January. So super excited to see that, and we can't wait to help table and all those things. And then we're also going to be doing a drink safety event in the second week of November. We have the USC PD defense class on that Tuesday, which the date is the 11th, and then time is going to be from 4 to 6, and then locations TBD. And then we're also going to be tabling that Wednesday and Thursday, giving out those drink testing kits. And then we're in the process of working out the kinks for a Boo with the Flu, which is going to be with the President's Branch, hoping to help table them with that. And then myself and Senator Baldinger finished up some legislation I'll be hearing for next Senate session, as well as I finally got the go-ahead to introduce my legislation concerning RAs being able to do CPR. So really exciting about that. And then we're just going to keep on working about legislation, but I yield my time to questions.
The chairwoman yields her time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you. We will now hear a report from the Judiciary Committee. Vice Chairwoman Waring, you are recognized.
Let me get myself together really quick. Okay, so I'm here on behalf of PC
but Judiciary met on Friday at 12:30 in the LSC. We first voted on SBO 11780, which was found unanimously favorable. Following that, we discussed many great ideas that members had that pertain to the code, such as possibly allowing for legislation to be on the contested calendar if more than 3 members vote unfavorable rather than the majority. Then we were working on making the oath of office codes more concise as they are repetitive, as well as cross-referencing the Constitution code. We also drafted 3 bills that will be on the first reading calendar today, which I will explain then. In simple terms, each bill was for clarifying or simplifying a certain section of the codes, nothing major, and with that, I yield my time to questions.
The senator yields her time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none. Good job. First report. Woo woo. All right. We will now hear a report from the Liberties and Representations Committee. Are there any representatives present? Senator Takar, you're recognized.
Hi, Liberties and Representation did not meet this week. I yield the question.
The Vice Chairman yields his time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none. Thank you. We will now hear a report from the Powers and Responsibilities Committee. Chairwoman Anderson, you are recognized.
Hi guys, Powers met Monday at 5:15 and we had a couple interviews this week. Maria Modica and Lena Lowry's were found favorable. Sarah Sprouse accepted a position in the academic committee, so therefore she won't be interviewing to be a vacant senator. And Vincent Lee was no longer interested in interviewing. And then Paula Giesti was found unfavorable. We were looking for a more substantial action plan in regards to what she wanted to do and a better understanding of what it means to be a student senator or a part of student government. And we are supposed to have a post on the SG Instagram, which is super excited, talking about vacant Senate seats. And it's really a goal of mine to have a full Senate. So if you know anyone who's interested in applying for Senate or who would be a good fit, I would encourage you to reach out to them just so we can hopefully get a full Senate. And with that, I yield my time to questions.
The chairwoman yields her time to questions. Are there any questions? Senator Sheridan.
Yes, I believe there will be 3. Two.
Yep. But fun fact, I'll get to in my report, but there's a Senate wait list that hasn't been utilized in over 4 years because we haven't had a full Senate in over 4 years.
And typically, I know in years past, there's been some turnover come January with people graduating either a semester early, going abroad, things like that. So there will be a turnover. So we want to get as close as we can before that as well.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you. We will now hear a report from the Student Life Committee. Chairman Spurgeon, you are recognized.
We met this week at our normal time. We're gonna have to reconsider a time for next week. And I'm gonna open it to changing to just see if there's something that works better for everyone. So if you're interested in student life, I'll send a window to meet. I yield the questions.
The chairman yields his time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you. We will now hear a report from the Sustainability Committee. Are there any representatives present? Senator Keenan.
How's it going, everyone? Sustainability met on Monday at the usual time at 6:30. We had no legislation to go over, and we are looking at a tabling event on the 14th of October from 10 to 2 o'clock, so if you can come on for that, that would be great. We're still working on our initiative of recycling bins in the fairgrounds, and also there is committee whole legislation hitting the floor next week, and a meeting with RHA about joint legislation on October 16th. On that, I yield my time to questions.
The senator yields his time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you. Good job. First report also. Tons of first day. Right. We will now hear a report from the freshman council. Are there any representatives present? I'm so sorry, I actually forgot. We are now in line for a special guest, Assistant Director for Student Governance, Emma Ormond. You are recognized.
Hello, everyone. I never get to see you from this angle, so this is very fun. I told Maura I would be more than happy to discuss the codes revision committee that we were implementing. Just because we have confirmed that we will be having a consultant come on board. We have confirmed that earlier this week. So because of your legislation, which props to you all, was the first legislation he ever received from any student government wanting him to come here. So Dr. Goodman was very, very pleased with that and felt special. In order to kind of maintain the hopeful timeline that we have for them, he did onboard another consultant. So that is Dr. Alexa Lee Arnett. She is also highly recommended for codes revision. She does a lot of codes revisions for your institutions on the West Coast, it seems. And so she and Dr. Goodman will be very, very great for you all to discuss potential edits for your codes. Basically, to do a rundown, the hopeful timeline will be about 3-4 months of committee meetings, revisions, and then hopefully legislation on the floor in January. There will be 3 meetings on the books for the committee and the consultants. The first one will probably occur within 2 weeks. The second will occur most likely before Thanksgiving, and the final will occur most likely in December or early January. Each one comes with a difference in discussion points. So the initial meeting will be a discussion based on the wants and needs of student government. So if you all have any ideas, please, please, please let me know or let the committee persons know. Committee was chosen by staff here at USC based on their knowledge of the codes, implementation of the codes, history with the codes and Constitution. And so those individuals have received an email from me inviting them to be on, and I'll say who those are in a second. But the initial meeting is scope setting and then project expectation, as well as just discussing overall needs for the revision. The second meeting will be a review session. So Dr. Arndt and Dr. Goodman will be reviewing the codes and Constitution with the mindset of the feedback that has been given to them by these committee chairs. Based on that feedback, they'll come back with potential revisions as well as additional questions if they need to expand on anything. After that, they'll take the discussion back and then review it again, red, green, and then yellow line it to make sure that it adheres with state, federal laws. And then the final review, they will send their final revisions off to the committee. They will not meet with the committee for this third meeting. Instead, it will just be with the committee and an advisor present to see if there is any implementations going forward. The biggest thing I want to stress is that while the university is encouraging of you all having this committee, you're not required to take on anything that is recommended to you. This is just a helpful tool for you all to utilize. And so if you see revisions that have been made by these 2 consultants that you do not agree with, that's totally fine. You just need proper discussion. So overall, this is to help you all make sure that you are good and there are no legal issues within your codes, and to strengthen your codes and better understanding for all students. But again, the power is placed in your hands of what you would like to do. This is just to be helpful overall. I think I have said everything. The people in the committee that, after discussing with Dr. Amber Hyatt, our Associate Vice President for Student Life, we have decided upon these following people: the Speaker of the Student Senate, Chairperson of Judiciary, Chairperson of Powers and Responsibility, Attorney General, and then Chief Justice of Constitutional Council. We believe by having a small committee, it'll be more effective to have these conversations, which is why I urge you to go to any of these individuals to urge or display your concerns with the codes or Constitution, just because it's going to be more effective to have those smaller conversations and not just the entire Senate in that committee structure. With that, and I've never said this before, but I yield to questions.
The assistant director yields her time to questions. Are there any questions?
If not, just find me after.
Perfect. Seeing none, we are now in line for a report from the freshman council. The representatives are recognized.
Good evening. My name is Madison Putman. I am from West Columbia, South Carolina. I am a part of the Health and Safety Committee, and I currently serve as the Internal Affairs Coordinator.
Good evening, Senate. My name is Caroline Brown, and I am on the Academics Committee, where I serve as Vice Chair. Freshman Council met at our normal time on Monday at 6:30 p.m. To begin, the academic committee will be having an academic supplies donation drive. For this, they will be hosting a Halloween tabling event on October 30th, where they will be advertising for the donation drive. The donation drive is looking to receive new or rarely used academic materials, and they are currently working on the graphics and film materials. The organization they are partnered with is the United Way of the Midlands, and the drive will be from October 30th to November 16th. Finally, they are planning to bring the donations and volunteers to work through them as a committee on November 19th.
Student Life is still working on logistics for a potential hot chocolate and coffee bar the week before finals. They are trying to brainstorm more holiday-related treats to serve during this tabling event. They have also reached out to the ProCo Academics and Health and Safety Committee for potential collaboration. The Health and Safety Committee is currently working on collaborating on several events with different committees. They are working to collaborate with the Senate Health and Safety Committee to help with their flu season event. They also plan to work with the Academics Committee on their Finals Week event, although the specific events are still in the works. The committee also plans to work with the Senate Health and Safety Committee during their Drink Safety Week. Finally, the committee is working on finding contacts and solidifying proposal details for the Independent Drink Spiking event, awareness event in January.
The Sustainability Committee is continuing to look into opportunities to collaborate with the Sustainability Committee and the Greater Student Government. They are also continuing to work and plan out the logistics of their 15 event, as well as sending out a survey to the student body to see how much they know about recycling and other sustainability-related topics. And finally, Liberties and Representation are currently under planning their first tabling event for October 29th, and they are continuing to work to understand the bus services on campus to help the student body learn more about that.
We yield our time to questions.
The representatives yield their time to questions. Are there any questions for the representatives? Seeing none, thank you. We will now hear a report from the Constitutional Council. Chief Justice Butcher, you are recognized.
Hey guys, not much. I have one non-substantial edit right across the desk tonight. SBL 51 is going to be applied to 24180, not 190, because there is no 190. I talked with Senator Diapolito about that. Rocco, GR, and several committee members have been sworn in, so thank you for everyone who reached out to me to get that done. And I hope you all have a fun fall break. I yield my time.
The Chief Justice yields his time to questions. Are there any questions? Awesome. Seeing none, thank you. We'll now hear a report from the Speaker of the Student Senate. I'm going to recognize myself. Hi, guys. Thank you for being here. It takes a lot of commitment to be here at 6 p.m. on your fall break, so I really appreciate it. Not much from me. Today during Senate, if we get off on a tangent with questions, you might notice me redirecting our conversation. That's not trying to like censor or block anybody from speaking, but I just want to make sure that we're using Senate time effectively, committee time effectively, and then knowing when to have individual conversations. Thank you all of you for showing up to Walkathon. That was a great turnout. I was really, really happy with that. And I've been really happy with all of your guys' work and working with the other branches. That was something I was really passionate about. Sorry. And it's just really nice to see it come to fruition. That's because of you guys. Also, I know that Lauren talked about the vacancies during her response for powers and responsibilities, but we currently have 2 vacant seats right now, and we have 2 applications. Obviously, we can't guarantee that both those people or any of those people are going to be approved or confirmed into Senate, but I'm really excited. We haven't had a full Senate or a Senate this close to being full in probably over 4 years. I've never seen a Senate be this close to being full. This was something that I really wanted to do when I first became Speaker like 2 years ago, and I kind of thought that was just never going to happen, and I am so happy. So thank you. You guys are doing a good job spreading the word, showing people that it's fun to be in Senate and that this is a good, productive way to give back to our community. And then the Senate wait list, just a little fun fact because we haven't utilized it in a while. Even if Senate gets full to 50 seats, the interviews don't stop. People can still continuously interview for Senate. And then we start to create a Senate wait list. And then anytime that a vacant seat opens up, instead of us, just automatically putting a person who was accepted into the vacancy, the people off the wait list will be pulled first. This is super helpful because say we were to fill Senate next Wednesday and have 50 seats. By the time that December rolls around and the change of term, unfortunately, a lot of our senators are studying abroad. So out of nowhere, we're going to have like a bunch of vacant seats. And then we could have people who are on the wait list have already been interviewed by our Powers and Responsibilities Committee, and they can just pop right into those vacant seats. And perhaps we can keep Senate full as we move from this semester to the next. So definitely like keep spreading the word about it. We're going to still be posting on Instagram and things like that. Just might be a little bit of a delay before they're able to be like an actual voting senator. Other than that, I yield my time to questions. Any questions? Okay, seeing none. We are now in line for a report from the student body treasurer. Are there any representatives present? Seeing none, she's really sick, so that's why she's not here, and that was like a last minute thing. We are now in line for a report from the student body vice president. Vice President Jordan Richardson, you are recognized.
Hello, hello. Not much from me today. Signal Free Week is the October 24th to 30th. It's on screen. I'll have more finalized things, events for y'all next week. Thank y'all so much for coming out to Walkathon. We raised over $11,000. We had around 400 participants, 530 registrations. So it was a great event. I'm really happy with it. Thank y'all so much for coming out, sharing with people, getting donations. I really appreciate it. It goes not go unnoticed. That's all I have for my report, so I'll yield my time to questions.
The student body vice president yields his time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you. We are now in line for a report from the student body president. President Courtney Tax, you are recognized.
Hello, everyone. I just had an energy drink, so I'm a little jittery, so bear with me. Thank you guys so much for being so awesome with the president. You guys asked fantastic questions that really opened his eyes, and he has a lot of great ideas moving forward. He's very, very pleased with how it went, so thank you, thank you, thank you. One thing that I'm working on right now with Russell House expansion and for my board presentation is, of course, Russell House. So I have created a survey for freshmen about Russell House and how their experiences thus far. So are they having a quality experience with dining, with study space, with student organization space? Questions like that. There's a lot of yes, no. There's ranges, so strongly disagree to strongly agree. So I would also love everybody to fill that out. So I'm trying to get enough data. I'm trying to get a lot of freshman data, but I'd love kind of the range of all 4 years and even graduate students as well. This was an issue that got brought up yesterday, but I also want y'all's help with this. So I had a meeting with Lisa Gerald regarding student advocacy. And we are really kind of looking at wellness days, and what we're finding is that a lot of students are using or are their anxiety often skyrockets when their stress skyrockets. And so we're finding that weeks that have lots of midterms, lots of exams due, that is typically when we're having the most requests. Last month, we had over 2,000 requests, ranging from actual emergencies to I had a runny nose. So we are really, really trying to figure out what the best implementation is. And when we're finding our students are not using their unexcused absences. They're trying to save their unexcused absences and get excused absences. So one idea that I had was really taking this semester and looking at what weeks were having the highest rates of people submitting mental health excused absences, and could that be a time that we implement a permanent wellness day? That was something that we had kind of thought about last year. Didn't think it would have served the purpose, but if we're finding that a lot of students are utilizing 1 week over another, maybe that's a possibility. And then we would look into doing that throughout the semester, and it would range from a Tuesday, Thursday class into a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class, so that everyone would have the opportunity to have a day where they could not get out of class, but use it wisely to catch up on whatever they needed. So again, really want to use you guys as a sounding board for what that would look like. I got an email last Thursday from the provost's office regarding the new dean in the College of Arts and Sciences. This was after, let me preface this was after the town hall that they sent. That was not through me, that was through McCausland. Every McCausland student got that email regarding a town hall about the dean. That was not through me. But what is through me was an email after that. And they're looking from one person from each college. So I am distributing, making sure that that's distributed across all the branches. I'm sorry, not everybody can serve on this committee. It is one person from each college, and it will be across all 4 branches. So putting that out there. I wanted to talk about some great work that my Secretary of Veterans Affairs is working on. So if you guys are interested in this, this will be the week of November 9th. I didn't put it up there because we're making sure that they're finalized before we do anything. But November 9th, she has partnered with ROTC and Carolina CrossFit, who's run by a USC alum, to put on a MRF. It would be so a MRF is a weighted 1 mile run, and then it's 300 push-ups, 200 burpees, 100 pull-ups.
and then another 1 mile weighted run at the end. And it's all about a man who I believe was killed overseas
In Afghanistan.
in Afghanistan.
It's
Yes.
100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats.
It's insane. But it's like a $10 entry fee. It's a really big thing, especially during Veterans Day and Memorial Day. That Tuesday, we will be doing a plaque ceremony that was donated by Veterans Affairs. And then that Monday, and then that Tuesday, which is actually Veterans Day, will be a brunch for like a veterans brunch and tabling. We also talked about this yesterday. We will be doing a survey week the week after Thanksgiving, December 1st and December 4th from 11 to 2. I'm going to pull the Chick-fil-A card, hopefully. As I said earlier this semester, Chick-fil-A wanted to partner with us for that December 1st date. And then December 4th, we are already doing a SEC-wide tabling for mental health, and we're going to give out care packages. So we're also going to make like a checklist of, at the very end, being like, have you completed your core surveys? The really cool thing is Explorance Blue, the partner we're going with, they'll have all the data, and if you complete 100% of your surveys, you'll be automatically entered into what's the official word, Emma? Drawing. No, not a raffle. Not a raffle. You'll be entered into a thing for a parking pass. So do your surveys. And also get everybody else to do their surveys. But on top of that, I'll be talking to Faculty Senate on November 5th regarding incentivization of course surveys, and also just open communication about what it means to complete a course survey and really explain to students why it's important to complete those. Just a reminder that we're having an alumni tailgate for the Alabama game. I finally got the student leader discount code in the Eventbrite, so I'll send that out to all of student government if you would like to attend. Also, my Secretary of Community Relations and the entire outreach department have started hashtag SG and COLA. Please submit all the things that you do in Columbia that are appropriate, please. Additionally, my Secretary of Disability Services is partnering with Clemson to raise money for Camp Cole, so that should be really cool, and working on a pink out game for women's soccer for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And then my last thing is I'll be going to LSU this weekend with the board, and we're touring their engineering facilities and their honors facilities. So if there's anything within LSU that you are like, I'm dying to know about this, and I really want to bring this to USC, please put that under my radar. I'm going to be taking a lot of time on Saturday to go tour their union, their career center, things that I think that we need to kind of amp up a little bit here. Sorry, Laura. With that, I yield my time to questions.
The student body president yields her time to questions. Are there any questions? Being none, thank you. Before we continue on, I just wanted to throw one last thing I meant to say during my report. To go off what Daniel said, just some stats for you guys. Last year, in the entire year, we passed 131 pieces. So we're well over half of that, and we're not even halfway through the term. The year before, we passed 82, and the year before, we passed 72. So y'all are rocking the game. You're doing a great job. So hats off to you for that. We are now in line for special orders of the Senate. Are there any letters, petitions, appointments, applications, or other the clerk will now read?
A communication from the Office of the Speaker of the Student Senate regarding delegation assignments. Lena Lurig, Pharmacy, Maria Monica, Nursing.
Received. Continuing on with the special orders of the Senate, are there any letters, petitions, appointments, applications, or other the clerk will now read?
A communication from the Office of the Speaker of the Student Senate requesting approval of the following committee assignments. Lena Lurig, Student Life, Health and Safety, Maria Monica, Student Life, Academic.
The question is of the approval of committee assignments en bloc. All those in favor say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The committee assignments are approved. Continuing on with the special orders of the Senate, are there any letters, petitions, appointments, applications, or other the clerk will now read?
A communication from the Office of the Speaker of the Student Senate regarding vacancy applications, Nicole DiLorenzo and Jordan Middleton.
The applicants are referred to the Powers and Responsibilities Committee. Continuing on with the special orders of the Senate, are there any letters, petitions, appointments, applications, or other the clerk will now read?
A communication from the Constitutional Council requesting approval of non-substantial edits to the code.
The question is of the approval of non-substantial edits to the codes. All those in favor say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The edits are approved. Continuing on with the special orders of the Senate, are there any letters, petitions, appointments, applications, or other the clerk will now read? Seeing no more special orders of the Senate, we are now in the motion period. Are there any motions on the floor at this time? Speaker Pro Tempore Violette. There's been a motion to add a resolution to congratulate members who participated in the USC Walkathon to the first reading calendar. Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The legislation is added to the first reading calendar and granted the legislative number of 93. Senator Sheridan. There's been a motion to remove Senator Sheridan from the Judiciary Committee. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. We're going to be a little bit slower today in the motions because Addison isn't here. Just telling you right now. And here are the Gritneys, so add yourself to the committee Gritneys, please. Thanks. Chairwoman Anderson. There's been a motion to confirm the nominees to the position of student senator. Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. The nominees are confirmed. Chairwoman Anderson. There's been a motion to suspend the rules. Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Y'all can come down and take your oath of office.
I solemnly pledge to faithfully execute the office of senator, to abide by the student government constitution and codes, to uphold the character and integrity, and to represent my constituents to the best of my ability.
And then y'all can come and sit in like the middle part now. And you should have a buddy. Awesome. Is there a motion to reinstate the rules? Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. We are still in the motion period at this time. Are there any other motions on the floor? Senator Sheridan. Sustainability meets 6:30 on Monday? At 6:30 on Monday. What? On Teams. Okay. Any other questions or any other motions on the floor at this time? No. And if you're a new senator, if you want to take out your phone, student life is the one with the football field. Health and safety is the one that's got like the little heart on it. And then academics is the one that's got the books on it. Right. Are there any other motions on the floor at this time? Seeing no more motions, is there a motion to dispense of this motion period? Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. That is the fastest motion period I've ever been in the past 3 years, so that's crazy. We are now on the call of the introduction of new legislation. The clerk will now read.
SBL 11783, sponsored by the Finance Committee, a recommendation to permit the Finance Committee to allocate funds.
Chairman Matthews, you are recognized.
Hello. Yeah, this is for $11,000 for the listed organizations. I yield the questions.
The chairman yields his time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none. Senator Jacobson. There's been a motion to pass SBL 11783 by unanimous consent. Seeing no objections, this legislation is now adopted. Continuing on with the call of new legislation, the clerk will now read.
SBL 11784, sponsored by Vice Chairman Von Cannon and Senator Sheridan, a recommendation to expand the game day student wellness resources.
The senators are recognized to speak on the legislation.
All right, hey y'all, so I hope y'all read through this. So essentially this recommendation is just to expand upon like the student resources that we already have, such as like the Gatorade packets and the water bottles. We put out a survey that I hope you all filled out about your opinions on the wellness packages and what you'd like to see within them. We had a very positive reaction within the surveys. Most things that we put in there, there's like over 60% like affirming what they'd want to see in the packages. Some of those we want to have it come with a sponsorship. So we've been working together with Marietta Robb to contact the mayor's office and get some connections with possible sponsors for these game day items. Our goal is for the school not to spend any money, but rather someone slap their logo on there, and then we get our resources for ourselves. As for our timeline, we want to be working to develop our sponsorship and groundwork for these packages to hopefully be rolling around about Hoops Week. We want to make sure that that's kind of like our soft launch of it to see if we can get this put in for next year. I yield my time for questions.
The senators, do you have anything to add, Senator Von Cannon?
Yeah, also we're going to pilot it through Hoops Week, and also if Hoops Week goes well, we're going to try to get it during basketball season as well, so that by the time next football season comes around, it's a really well-developed system. And if anybody wants to attend the mayor's meeting, we're still trying to get that date down, but just let us know. We'll get you in contact with Mayor. We yield the question.
The senators yield their time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, this legislation is now referred to the Health and Safety Committee. Continuing on with the call of new legislation, the clerk will now read.
SPO 11785, sponsored by Vice Chairman Von Cannon and Senator Sheridan, is recommendation to enroll USC in the Race to Zero Waste Game Day Basketball Challenge.
The senators are recognized.
Yeah, so this is just kind of a program that I know at least 150 colleges a year, about 1,000 total participate in since like 2001. It's just for this, we're going to start with the Game Day Basketball Challenge. So you'll pick a specific game. We'll pick a specific game for the basketball season. We'll track our food waste, recycling, trash, and we'll track all those. We'll send it to the Campus Race and Zero Waste website, and then they'll look at the findings, and then you get put in like a ranking. And then, colleges that win, they have like small colleges, medium colleges, large colleges, and you'll get recognition through that. Some SEC schools like University of Tennessee and Alabama already are registered for 2025. In-state schools like Clemson, Coastal Carolina, and USC Upstate are registered for different events. Clemson is specifically registered for the Game Day Basketball Challenge, so that could be like a good competition with them. The competition's existed for more than 20 years. There's well-established guidelines, weight scales to follow. There's a contact through Campus Race to Zero Waste that we can work with to kind of figure out how to do the certain things. If we participate in this and kind of make that first step, it kind of encourages more sustainable practices, get some conversations going about what we could do, not just for athletic events, but for the school as a whole. So I think that if we could do this for the basketball game, then maybe we could also do it for football, which is a much bigger task. But like with the Game Day Wellness packages, we're really trying to pilot these ideas through smaller basketball games and try to see how they work, and then try to get them for football. But yeah, that's all I have. I use the question.
The senators yield their time to questions. Are there any questions? Senator Lewis.
No, I have no knowledge of it. I know for sure we weren't registered last year, and we're not registered this year. Yeah.
Any other questions? Chairperson Kobiak.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking that if we don't compete as well, then that kind of would encourage, I feel like that would encourage us to participate more rather than participate less, with like some reusable cups, more recycling. I'm thinking that if we aren't up to level, that if our school, if USC sees that we're not up to level, and also sees that other colleges like Clemson do really well, they'll probably be a little more prone to be like, hey, like maybe we should get up to par. So that's kind of what I'm thinking, is that if we do participate, obviously I want us to win, obviously. But if we don't win or we don't do well, then I think USC would be like, hey, like maybe we should like get more into this, because other schools like Coastal or Clemson are doing it. and they're doing it well, so why not? So that's kind of my thought process.
Any other questions? Seeing none, this legislation is now referred to the Sustainability Committee. Continuing on with the call of new legislation, the clerk will now read.
SBO 11786, sponsored by Senator Spurgeon, a recommendation to improve class focus and punctuality by installing wall clocks.
Senator Spurgeon, you are recognized to speak on this legislation.
This one's pretty simple. I just think that it becomes a problem in classes when people pull their phones out when they don't necessarily need to. There's a lot of classes that are like best done on paper, small room format. And there's a lot of times where in exam situations where you might have a broken clock in the back of the room, so no one in the back section knows what time it is until time's up or guessing. And so I just think it would be just a nice extra convenience to encourage the departments to put clocks in each classroom. I yield the question.
The chairman yields his time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, this legislation is now referred to the Academics Committee. Continuing on with the call of new legislation, the clerk will now read.
SBO 11787, sponsored by Senator Spurgeon, a recommendation to establish departmental drop-in tutoring centers.
The senator is recognized.
This one's also pretty simple. Well, not in practice, but the math department has a drop-in tutoring center that's open multiple days a week during a wide array of hours. Like, you'd have to really try to find someone who doesn't have time available to go there, and it's run by grad students. We can make up quizzes. I think we can do tests sometimes. And since it's grad students, they're pretty well versed in the first couple levels of math courses, so not really specific to any type of course. It's just open for anyone who's enrolled in those to go and receive help. This would encourage other departments to provide something similar, since a lot of people can't make every SI session, or I know there's been classes that I'm in that I've wanted to go and haven't been able to make any of them. So it would just encourage a similar format. Oh, and there's some departments that will have a makeup quiz day or something. So everyone takes their quizzes like towards the end of the semester or like in between finals and then the course, which doesn't really help you learn. So this would allow a place for people to take proctored quizzes. I yield the questions.
The chairman yields his time to questions. Are there any questions? Senator Freer.
That's cool.
The point of information for future reference. Any other questions or points of information? Seeing none, this legislation is now referred to the Academics Committee. Continuing on with the call of new legislation, the clerk will now read.
SBO 11788, sponsored by Senator Spurgeon, a recommendation to ensure reasonable parking enforcement for ROTC students participating in morning teaching.
Chairman Spurgeon, you are recognized.
This one's also kind of simple. In the mornings, we're allowed to park, or cadets are allowed to park in the black parking lot, which is right next to where we conduct PT, either inside or on the field or on the streets out there, until 7 a.m., which is when ticketing begins. That's when it's a course on our schedules that from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Sometimes if we're not right there right then and it takes 2 minutes to walk back to the car, we'll come back to tickets. Sometimes it was rainy, we had to go to a different location. That time we'll come back to tickets. And so it just asks for 10 extra minutes on those days where we're a couple minutes late to not get tickets. I have the questions.
The chairman yields his time to questions. Are there any questions? Senator Freer.
Long walk far away. We were told to park here. It's early in the morning, like parking and instructors of the courses.
Senator Freer, I'm going to move away for a second. Senator Lewis.
I have no idea. I didn't talk about those lots.
Any other questions? Senator Von Cannon.
The D1 swim team and their support students also park in that lot at the same time. It's a pretty empty lot till 7. But that's the only people that are supposed to be parking there. And then at 7 a.m. it becomes open to staff and people who work in offices and buildings nearby. I mean, it could be. My recommendation, I think they get it done before 7 a.m. Pretty consistent. I don't know. I haven't talked to them.
That would be an administration thing. Any other questions? Seeing none, this legislation is now referred to the Health and Safety Committee. Continuing on with the call of new legislation, the clerk will now read.
SBL 11789, sponsored by the Judiciary Committee, a bill to simplify the office of elected.
Vice Chairwoman Van Mooring, you are recognized.
So basically what this bill does is it just takes a long bulleted list and puts it into a comma sentence just to be concise. Just to clarify, no positions are being removed from the offices selected. I yield my time to questions.
The Vice Chairwoman yields her time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, this legislation is now referred to the Powers and Responsibilities Committee. Continuing on with the call of the new legislation, the clerk will now read.
SBL 11790, sponsored by the Judiciary Committee, a bill to simplify the offices elected.
Vice Chairwoman Van Mooring, you are once again recognized.
So the College of Arts and Sciences was obviously renamed, so this just includes the name and the codes for delegation assignments. Just to clarify, I did speak to Kiki, and she noticed that both SBL 89 and this bill are titled A Bill to Simplify the Office Elected, and Kiki said that since the title technically applies to both bills, it may not need to be changed, as they both relate to essentially simplifying the offices elected section of the code. I yield my time to questions.
The Vice Chairwoman yields her time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, this legislation is now referred to the Powers and Responsibilities Committee. Continuing on with the call of new legislation, the clerk will now read.
SBL 11791, sponsored by the Judiciary Committee, a bill to clarify delegation chairs.
You're recognized again.
There was confusion on whether or not the phrase "be part of" meant part of the college or just part of the delegation, so we just cleared up the language to say represent the. Though we have the Attorney General whose job it is to give the correct interpretation of the code, we felt that there shouldn't be confusion in the first place on how to interpret this line. Also, while we were in this section, we figured we would change the typos found in 2530. I now yield my time.
The Vice Chairwoman yields her time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, this legislation is now referred to the Powers and Responsibilities Committee. Good job with your legislation. Continuing on with the call of the new legislation, the clerk will now read.
SBL 11792, sponsored by Chairman Matthews, a bill to remove the sunset clause from Chapter 3.
Chairman Matthews, you are recognized to speak on this legislation.
Hello. This one, also pretty simple. It just removes the sunset clause from Chapter 3, which was put in effect last year by Bill 33, and as soon as it was passed, that set a timer off. 1 month after it was passed, it became, I don't know what the word is, defunct. It stopped having any force, but it's still in the code.
The chairman yields his time to questions. Are there any questions? Seeing none, this legislation is now referred to the Finance Committee. Continuing on with the call of the uncontested legislation, the clerk will now read.
SBL 11793, sponsored by Speaker Pro Tempore Violette and Chairperson Koviak, a resolution to congratulate members who participated in the USC Walkathon.
The senators are recognized.
Hello again, everybody. So, I believe it's Sunday we had the walkathon. We had about 500 people register. This is coming straight from VP Richardson. About 500 registered for the USC Walkathon, and of those who registered, roughly 400 people from across South Carolina, from across student government, decided to show up and show their support for Stigma Free Week and for the USC Walkathon.
And then I just also wanted to speak on this a bit too, but the walkathon is something that was started in honor of a student who passed away due to suicide. And as someone who works with mental health organizations on campus, it's something that was really, it's like a great thing to do last year. It had a lot of success, and we did it again this year with a lot of that great success on so many bases. And as the Vice President mentioned, like, we raised a lot of money, and all of that is going directly to organizations that are going to be able to help people who are struggling with their mental health and are affected by the problem of suicide. And we just want to make sure that we are recognizing how good of an event it was.
On a bit of a lighter note, shout out to Ahmed and Tommy. They ran
A lot.
a lot.
It was crazy.
With that, we yield our time to questions.
The senators yield their time to questions. Are there any questions? Senator Fry. There's been a motion to pass SBL 11793 by unanimous consent. Seeing no objections, this legislation is now adopted. All right. Continuing on with the call of new legislation, the clerk will now read. Hearing none, we are now on the call of the uncontested legislation. Speaker Pro Tempore Violette. There's been a motion to appoint Senator Kobiak as Speaker Pro Tempore Violette's proxy. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Speaker Pro Tempore Violette. There's been a motion to appoint Senator Fry as Senator Walker's proxy. Is there a second? Without objection, so ordered. Senator Violette. Granted. I think he's over to the stairs up here. Sorry, guys. It kind of just adds to the mood a little bit. Okay. We're still on the call of the uncontested legislation, and the clerk's gonna read.
SBL 11775, sponsored by the Academics Committee, a recommendation to create a standard timeline for student work to be graded and posted into Blackboard and other assignment pages.
The Academics Committee is recognized to speak.
So just letting everyone get up here. But kind of talked about this a little bit in the committee report, and going to let those who spoke with this a little bit more. But essentially, this is just a recommendation again to ask colleges overall and University of South Carolina to do the work to make sure that student accountability and professor accountability is kind of meeting the same things. So students who are, putting assignments in, they're getting these grades, sometimes they're not getting them quick enough to be able to do assignments well throughout the entire time, and sometimes get almost a gotcha surprise when they thought they were maybe doing well, and oftentimes can lead to unintended consequences of issues with graduation retention, and, being able to do your major effectively, all these kinds of things. And this piece is purely recommendation. It is not specific about what we think the timeline should be, how they should do it, implementation that is up to each college, and up to what the colleges feel is applicable, how to do this, whether or not they actively want it to be something that's punitive, or whatever the implementation feels best to be. That this is just asking for them to consider this and make sure that these discussions are being had, because this is a problem that students are facing. And with that, also wanted to mention, we did have the ability to speak to some faculty who were on Faculty Senate who thought the idea was interesting. And I'm going to let Ash talk a bit more because he spoke directly to one of them. But another person I spoke to also found that it would be a good idea, just intriguing about implementation. Yeah.
Yes, there's always sometimes a struggle with implementation of this stuff, and that's not really relevant for what we vote on, whether or not we want to recommend it. If we recommend it, then we will go and recommend it. That's what I have a professor who is on Faculty Senate. That is what she said to me. She said, good luck. But she said, you should try, and if you believe that is a problem that students are facing, that is the point of the recommendation. Go for it. Unless you have other issues with it. We have spoken to people, yes. You have a question.
The senators yield their time to questions. Are there any questions? Senator Dorsey.
Barbara Anderson?
Yeah, and then I also, oh my God, I really just lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry. But I'm losing his name, but he is in the English department. He is on Faculty Senate as part of the English department. He's also the South Carolina Poet Laureate. I'm like,
But also, great question, but when with academic stuff, sometimes it's more of a Senate passes it and then we're able to advocate because sometimes you come and you ask them questions and they're just like, no.
We do think slightly backwards.
Marjorie Wentworth. Oh.
I remember now it's Ed. Forget his last name. But he's really great. And he's definitely like, he thought it was a very interesting piece, like the same that Ash was able to speak on. It's a lot of the stuff is the implementation piece, a lot of these things, other colleges that have stuff like this, it's not necessarily like a punitive spot, but I know even from like SG-wide, like stuff was talked about how to talk with faculty and kind of have student accountability, professor accountability, like being able to bridge those gaps where we're being held, it feels like we're being held to different expectations. This is just kind of continuing that conversation and bringing up that this could be something that could help in some way, if it's done in a capacity, to help students overall. And that's up to them of how they want to do it. So.
Any other questions? Seeing none, we will now move to a voice vote. All those in favor of passage say aye. All opposed. The ayes have it, the legislation is now adopted. Continuing on with the call of the uncontested legislation, the clerk will now read.
SBL 11780 sponsored by the Judiciary Committee, a bill to clarify Section 3530C of the Student Government Code.
Vice Chairwoman Man Warren, you are recognized.
Okay, so this is just a reminder that this bill is doing nothing major other than simplifying the section, making it easier to read and understand, which lowers the risk for confusion. I yield my time.
The Vice Chairwoman yields her time to question. Senator Jacobson. Mm-hmm. Chairman Matthews. There's been a motion for a 2-minute recess. Is there a second? With that objection, so ordered. Sorry, I'm following. I just want to. I can't make a decision on this per the speaker. I can offer you available motions would be to commit back to committee, to table indefinitely, to carry over to the next meeting, to pass by unanimously, whatever you guys really want. Senator Silkert. There's been a motion to table SBL 11780 indefinitely. Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. All opposed. The ayes have it. The legislation is tabled indefinitely. You can sit down, Taylor. You're all good. Continuing on with the call of the uncontested legislation, the clerk will now read. Hearing none, we are now on the call of the contested legislation. The clerk will now read. Hearing none. We are now in line for a period of open discussion. Does any senator wish to bring a matter of attention to the body? Seeing none, we are now in line for a period of announcements. Are there any announcements from the floor at this time? Okay, I have one. Sorry, I want to pull up the date to make sure I'm telling you correctly. We are having a student government cookout, like hamburgers, hot dogs. I think also like Impossible meat if you're like a vegetarian. The date for that is the 19th from, sorry, I'm pulling up the form. The 19th from 4 to 7. The form is pinned in the main student government group me. Please, please, please fill that form out because we want to make sure that we have enough hot dogs and hamburgers for everybody to eat it so that you can all be fed. But it will be awesome. I love hot dogs, so this is like actually my Super Bowl. Questions? Senator Matthews. Any other questions for right now? Sorry. All right. Seeing no more further questions, is there a motion to adjourn? Is there a second? Without objection, the Senate will now stand adjourned until Wednesday, October 15th, 2025.